It's Karen Finnan here, physiotherapist and director of Online Physio. Today I wanted to talk a bit about negative feedback. So in my goal setting for this year, one of the big things that I wanted to work on, improve on, get more robust at was dealing with negative feedback. Now this goes a little bit hand in hand with, I've got some goals of really building community and increasing my reach this year, getting out and helping more people. And I know that there's a law of numbers out there in social media land, that the more volume you have, the more reach you have, the more followers you have, there will be the trolls, the negative feedback that comes with that. That is simply part of life. And I've discovered that, you can be the nicest person with the best heart in the world, and there'll be still people who, may put nasty comments out there. Now, fortunately, I haven't had to deal with that much yet, but I know that just in business in general, the better you can be at training yourself to accept feedback, embrace it, and move forward from it, the better your outcomes will be. So I just wanted to share with you, I've put together a little laminated sheet that I carry around with me about negative feedback, and I just wanted to sort of share the contents with you. Now, this is really quite personal stuff, because this is literally what I'm going to pull out each time I feel a bit uncomfortable about something not perhaps going the way it should in my business, or somebody giving me some feedback that made me feel uncomfortable, or second guess things. This is literally what I pull out and carry with me everywhere when that happens. And to sort of do that, I got myself in a really positive place, and I wanted to speak to my vulnerable self, give myself, my vulnerable self, the words that I would need when that stuff was happening, but do that when I was in a really good place myself. So I hope that makes sense. So basically, I've summed up negative feedback into three parts, I suppose. There are three types of negative feedback. The first is that it is literally a troll. There's no sort of grounding in it. It's maybe a reflection of that own person's jealousy, their own agenda, their own unhappiness. When you really look at that feedback, there's nothing grounded in it. There's nothing constructive in it. It's maybe even a little bit off track, or sort of it doesn't even match up with the content that you posted or whatever. And so I suppose it's just recognizing that that's what that is. It probably doesn't help but feel a little bit yuck when someone's saying some nasty words just on something that you wrote, but just to acknowledge that this is their own issues going on, their own problems, and send maybe some pity their way, but not much more than that. So that's type one. Type two of feedback is feedback that you receive that you actually, it probably cuts a little bit deep, because there's probably a little bit of truth in there. So, it's something that identifies something that you've not been doing well in business, or something that didn't work out well. And I think that for me, I need to remember that if I receive this feedback, I need to celebrate it, because if I can improve that one thing, then I won't receive more feedback on that in the future being negative. So if my focus is to sort of decrease the negative feedback, even though I love it, I certainly don't want to be peppered with it. And the way you do that is by receiving the feedback and acting on it, so you're not going to get the same feedback repeating again and again. So I think that is a feedback that you have to embrace. You have to thank the giver for. You have to suck it up a bit, put your big girl panties on, act on it, and then send that negative feedback on its way. The final type of feedback is probably an interesting one, probably one that can tune you up quite a bit. It's when somebody gives you feedback that has validity to it, but unbeknownst to them, it's something that you've thought about, you've worked through, you've perhaps looked at solutions or scenarios yourself, and you opted with one, and perhaps this person is giving you feedback that you should have gone with the other. So this is a case where you may not necessarily act on it. You may feel that you've considered all the things that the feedback giver has talked about, but you opted for your own route, or you opted for your own way to remedy that. I think for me, in this situation, it's really important to be thanking the giver and to let them know that you felt the same way, you've been through the same process. And if I want to sort of share with them that I ended up in a different place. So three types of feedback. Nasty people who really don't have any relevance, relevant feedback that you've got to act on and then thank them for, and feedback where the person gives you the feedback, you've considered it, but you've been down that road and you decided on a different option. So again, they need thanking and perhaps a bit of explanation. So how do you deal with negative feedback? I'm hilarious because I'm so structured that I need it written down and three options to choose from when I get negative feedback. maybe you're able to deal with it in a more sort of verbal or dynamic way. I'd love to hear about it. Always looking for ways to improve. But if any of you do struggle with it, this might be a way to go. And just charge yourself into seeing it for what it is and not being too bogged down with it. I hope that's been useful. I look forward to chatting to you again next time. See you guys. Bye.